Hey guys, welcome back to Reverse 1999. In today's video, we're going to talk about Pickles. We got Pickles banner coming up, and I'm going to be pulling for him on my Melania account. And there's a lot of talk of, Pickles, Tooth Fairy, Changeling. I wanted to give you guys my thoughts around it. For me, on this Melania account that I've been using, I am 100% pulling for Pickles and going all in on the puppy. I got the Thief, I need the puppy. They're both really good units. It will set myself up. The other thing is, over on this account, I have only done 20 summons on the exclusive banner. And I just need to fill out my roster more. So I need to do some summons, and I love Pickles. Pickles has always been my favorite from the start. So that's what I am doing over on this account. Now on my other account, I'm doing something different, and I want to go through that because I want to talk about this whole general thing about Pickles, Tooth Fairy, and Changeling. Now we will go through Pickles more in depth in a minute, but I just want to talk about this and give a TLDR of my thoughts around this. So Pickles is that universal support that works with just about anything and is a good buffer, plus brings additional damage, can be used as a damage dealer and buff him if you want to in a pinch, which is what I will be doing, but ideally used as a sub DPS / buffing unit. That is what Pickles' role is. Tooth Fairy is a healer, but excels in allowing your team to crit the enemies more with her debuffs. So she helps crit teams, which is fantastic. So she's an amazing healer and enables crit teams, which is something I really like as well. And then we have Changeling, who is the core to the poison team when you pair her with Sotheby or future units as well. But mainly at the moment when she comes out in 1.2, it will be Sotheby. And the order of the banners goes, we get Pickles, then at start of 1.2, we get Tooth Fairy, then we get Changeling. That is the current order. So we have an all-round great supporting damage dealing unit. We have a healer that enables crit-based teams. And then we have the poison core member of the poison team. So now you have to choose which one of these units you want. They are all perfectly viable, great units. Changeling with, I'm just over here on the tier list just for ease of displaying them. But you can see overall, like obviously tier list is subjective, but they're all great units. Pickles, Tooth Fairy. CN, Changeling drops down because it's more catered towards mental damage and star characters. So, you're going to shift through metas when you got a very specific team that you're pulling Changeling for. But you can see here, Medicine Pocket, Tooth Fairy, Medicine Pocket only because we don't have Tooth Fairy. But in general, the one thing I want to say is with Changeling, if you're pulling for Changeling, you kind of know. You just want to play that poison team. My main account, I am going to... I'll talk about the strategy in a sec, but I'm going to do a few for Tooth Fairy, but the main thing that I want is to go to hard pity on Changeling just because I want to have that team and experiment with that team on that account. Whereas this account, I am going all in for Pickles and then dumping anything left over for Tooth Fairy. But let's talk about Pickles and Tooth Fairy because like I said, Changeling's her own thing, and I feel like people who want to go for Changeling know that's the team they want to do. They've probably re-rolled for Sotheby or just pulled Sotheby and you're like, okay, cool, let's do the Changeling thing. Now, as we move into these two being Pickles and Tooth Fairy, both very, very universal, splashable in just about anything. Obviously, crit characters are going to benefit more from Tooth Fairy, but everyone can benefit from having a Tooth Fairy in the team. She's a great unit. Pickles, he's the same. He's very AP friendly. And he's just a great support that can go in any team as a sub DPS / support buffer, which is fantastic, and stripper. But the one thing I will say is that Tooth Fairy's spot, there is less options for. So if that's something you're looking at rounding out your squad completely, then maybe you want to consider Tooth Fairy higher, just because when we look at healing options, I personally think Balloon Party is more down here with DK and Sotheby. Sotheby's obviously great if you're using Changeling with her, but in general, I think Balloon Party drops down to this tier, and I feel like Medicine Pocket and Tooth Fairy are the two real shining stars, but we still do have free-to-play options with Balloon Party, DK, and then in a pinch, like I'm even using LaSource still. But when we look at supports, we've got Beacorn, who is undoubtedly like a really great support, only for reality damage, but nonetheless still fantastic support and with solid damage as well. We've also got Ann Lee. Ann Lee sort of cancels out that spot of Medicine Pocket. In the future, we will get Shaman, but we don't have him yet. But as we go down, we all have a Sonetto as well. And this is where I think the support role is easier to fill because everyone has Sonetto and a lot of people will pull a Beacorn. So that's where you might go, okay, but I've already got two really solid supports. Do I really need Pickles? And that is something that you have to decide. Me personally, on my account, my Melania account, I'm still going for the Pickles. but you know, Tooth Fairy is going to be the following up thing that I am going to dump everything into. So when you're looking at that, like I said, I'm not telling you which one you should pull, but I'm just trying to give you guys all the information of what we're looking at with available characters and stuff like that, so you guys can make your own decision. But once you decide which one is your favorite, then you've got the other decision of who's your second favorite and how are you going to do your pulls. And what I would recommend is, if your favorite one and the one you want the most is Pickles, you go all in. If your favorite one and the one you want the most is Tooth Fairy, but then you're like, I also want Pickles, I don't care about Changeling, because let's face it, I feel like Changeling is a bit more niche on people who want the poison team. And if you don't want the poison team, then you're going to be skipping Changeling. So some people will want Pickles, but they want Tooth Fairy more. In that situation, what I would do is I would do pulls on the Pickles banner until I feel like I'm not comfortable with the amount of pulls I have left for the Tooth Fairy banner. And then I would stop on Pickles and go for Tooth Fairy. Because what you always want to do is you want to give yourself the best chance at the thing you want the most, but you also don't want to completely miss out on an opportunity of another character you want. So that is the way I would do it. And if you're burnt all your summons right now, well, then you've just got to make that call. So I can't tell you exactly what you should do, but that is the way I always look at it. And if you're like me over on this account, and we jump over here, even if you think you don't have enough summons to hit the, hard pity on Tooth Fairy and you want Tooth Fairy the most, but you also want Pickles, and you pulled a Melania in your last 10 pull, then doing one 10 pull on Pickles won't kill you. If you pull the Pickles, well shit, you just got a character for 10 pulls. If you miss out on the Tooth Fairy by 10 pulls, that's a bit of a rip, but you got a Pickles in 10 pulls. Like, that's insane. Some people would say, I'd do 20. Everyone has their own limits, so you got to think about that. But for me, if I was in this situation, I'm like, okay, I really want Tooth Fairy, but I kind of want Pickles, I would do a 10 pull. If I don't get Pickles, okay, I'll save. So everyone has their different limit, but that is just something to consider, because worst case, you do a 10 pull, you don't get the Pickles, you've built your pity towards the Tooth Fairy. So that is just something that I like to look at, and that is the way that I would play it. So bouncing back over here, and that is pretty much the whole strategy on should you pull Pickles. Is Pickles the one you want the most out of these upcoming characters? Yes, pull for Pickles. Is Pickles the one you want the second most? Yes. Do a couple pulls. Leave yourself as many for the pity on the one you want the most, whether that be Tooth Fairy or Changeling, and then you're going to have to cut it and leave it. Now, you also have to choose how many you're happy to save. Maybe you're happy just to save 70 pulls to guarantee yourself going to a 50-50. And then if you're willing to gamble that 50-50 on the next character, then you basically pull on Pickles until you're going to leave yourself with 70 pulls. Now, I will do a whole pull income video in the next couple of days as well, so you guys can understand roughly how many pulls we should be getting over the next upcoming period, so that you can sort of map this stuff out a bit better. But that is pretty much my TLDR of it. Now, let's talk about Pickles himself, because Pickles is an amazing supportive damage dealing unit. His insight is the main part about him. So at insight 1, when no action is taken this round, gives the caster 1 stack of Clarified Topic. Every time you use Clarified Topic, you gain 1 Moxie. Really nice. Insight 3 is huge for this guy. If you're getting the puppy, I highly recommend getting him Insight 3. That's what I will be doing personally. He will be my next Insight 3 character on my account. Gains 2 stacks of Clarified Topic immediately upon entering battle. Now, this is completely cracked, because if we look at it, if you restart until you get 3 Pickles cards, you move the 2 to you move and merge with your 2 that match. That's going to give you 2 Moxie. Then you use one of his attacks. That's going to give you 1 Moxie for the attack, 1 Moxie for the use of the Clarified Topic. And then you just move the other one and you've got 5 Moxie. Yes, you've only done 1 Pickles attack that turn, but you got 5 Moxie. Next turn, he still has 1 Clarified Topic. And then he can use his ultimate and buff your whole team for 3 turns, because his ultimate is going to be a single target damage, but it's also going to buff allies damage by 30% for 2 turns. But if you use that Clarified Topic, it becomes 3 turns. You don't have to do that play. You can do other plays. I will probably play it a bit differently myself because I have Melania and I want to rush Melania's ult, but it's just something that you can do if he's not in my Melania team. Then we move on past that, and then we look at his other 2 cards. Now, his other 2 cards may seem a little bit underwhelming, but you've got to remember how he likes to play every second turn, and how he can generate himself a lot of Moxie and gain these additional effects and buff your entire enemy team when he uses his ult, which is going to get his Moxie up pretty decently, pretty efficiently is what I would call it. It's not fast, it's efficient generation of his Moxie. So his first card is going to just deal mental damage. If you can Clarify Topic, it's going to deal extra mental damage to a single target. Then his second attack is a 2-target attack, which is going to have penetration when used in Clarified Topic. But the big thing about this one is if it's at 2-star or 3-star, regardless whether you're in clarified topic, it's going to strip the enemies. And stripping is not the most, not the type of thing that you use all the time, so it's not the most necessary, but when you need to strip the enemies, it is super handy to have a stripper. So that's where I think Pickles has absolute magic in him, because you've got really good efficient Moxie generation to buff your whole team. And then on top of that, he's got a strip and some really respectable damage, and he's very AP generous, leaving the AP to be used, the actions to be used by your other characters, which I absolutely love. So that is Pickles. I think Pickles is a fantastic unit. Like I said, splashable support that you'll be, I feel like you're never going to run out of usage of Pickles, because he can be used pretty much anywhere. So very versatile, very good roster filling character at this stage. So if we jump over here to my account, I want to show you sort of what Pickles offers me. Now, Pickles offers me a mineral damage dealer. Now, it's not that he's not like a prime main damage dealer, but he can pair really well with Regulus. So I've got Melania, obviously, as my beast first main damage dealer, but then I've got Regulus, and then if I add Pickles in there, he's mineral. And those two elements of star and mineral synergize well when they're going to be sort of characters running main DPS, sub DPS with each other. Because if we fight an enemy who is beast, Pickles will have advantage over them, and Regulus will be neutral, so no one's taking extra damage from the enemy. Then if we fight a mineral enemy, Regulus will have advantage and Pickles will be neutral, so no one's taking additional damage. So those two just pair really well. Then if I just need mineral, I've got Sonetto and Balloon Party for that mineral team. And then, you know, the only thing my account is missing is reality damage, which is very rare for accounts. I'm hoping to pull a Beacon Bloom in my summons. We'll have to see how we go. But in general, I'm missing reality damage. I may eventually just build myself an Eagle if I have absolutely zero other options, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm not too stressed on that. I feel like Pickles gives me a well-rounded roster in my team, and then after Pickles, I will dump anything else I have into the Tooth Fairy banner, because Pickles is the one I want the most, so I'm going to go all in on him, and then hopefully get the Tooth Fairy. I'm not caring about Changeling, so if I do get Pickles and then I get Tooth Fairy, I will save through Changeling and then go for one of the future characters. But that is my thoughts. That is my plans. Let me know what you guys are doing. Like I said, I can't tell you what you should do. There is no right answer to this. It's a game. It's about having fun, and you guys just got to choose what you enjoy and what character you want the most, and then you can set yourself limits on summons to what you're comfortable with having to go for that main character that you want, and then put the rest into another character, if that is Pickles, that you want just a little bit less. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.